Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cotman Crawford, a Jersey Guy podcast. How are you doing, Tom?
Good. I'm good.
Good?
Yeah.
Got a good podcast tonight.
Yeah.
I invited someone here with us, my stepson, Justin.
If you watched the last episode, you saw him pop in mid-episode.
Yeah, he popped in mid-episode. He's super nerd. Absolutely in our comfort zone, for sure. So I wanted to talk with him about The Last of Us, the show. Because I know you played the games and everything. And by the way, this is Justin.
I did, yes. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, world. Yes, I did play both of the games. Plenty to take away from season 1 of the show and the currently ongoing season 2. I think there's a great way to go about the general vibe of the game players right now. And the discourse that's happening amongst them, and the conversations that are happening that are kind of like pulling people in different directions with how the show feels. I remember a point in time from like 2008 to probably 2016 when a bunch of movies were coming out, and Hollywood's favorite thing at the time was like these teen books about dystopias, right? You had like Hunger Games, Twilight, Maze Runner, Divergent series. And I remember even then, as someone who didn't read the books, and it really started with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
As someone who just watched the movies, I remember that discourse existing then with avid book readers of those series being like, oh, it's missing, X, Y, and Z, and like, oh, it could have been so much better. At the time, I was luckily, ignorance is bliss, and was like, these movies are great. I love them. They're all awesome. They should keep making them. I'm now the book guy.
Really?
A little bit. I'm now the book guy a little bit. With these game series getting turned into shows.
Yeah.
So with the book series that have been turned into movies and shows, there's a lot to take away from a book.
Yeah.
You have to cut back plenty of stuff.
There's probably some stuff you don't really need to.
There's plenty of stuff in there that you probably don't need that's not necessarily important to the plot that you can get conveyed in a single 30-second scene.
Right.
The problem that seems to be happening in Hollywood right now is the writers that are making these series for these games are just, they're not relying on the source material.
They're not honoring the game.
No.
So you mean the series that's going on right now?
So I mean,
nothing like the.
So like The Last of Us season 1 is The Last of Us 1. It's the first game from beginning to end.
Okay.
It starts essentially the same way. It ends in the exact same spot, give or take. This second season has already wildly deviated from the second game.
Really?
For the most part, yeah. Like we're within the first,
like Mario Brothers movie deviated.
Not like
and I'm not talking about the one. Right. I'm talking about the '90s John Leguizamo.
Yeah. No, not so insanely different that it's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
It is very recognizable. Spoiler alert: Joel dies within probably the first hour of the second game.
Okay.
In the exact same way, essentially. The scenario is a little bit different. They kind of catch him on the fly instead of it being in that panic situation.
Oh, I see. Because he's doing the right thing kind of thing.
Correct. And that's good and fine. But a lot of that beginning, everything that had happened right before that point was super different. That whole first intro hour of the second game and the storytelling that happens there is quite different. The relationship between Dina and Ellie is way more tight-knit. It's like very clear that they both like each other and that there's a relationship happening there.
Yeah.
That is a little bit complicated because of what's his name? Dean? Totally escaping me right now. So it's like a weird sort of love triangle situation right off the bat. It's clear as day that that's a situation there. Pretty much missing from the second season so far. Like it was there. They did the kiss at the party situation.
Right.
Love that instead of Joel just shoving the guy out of the way. He straight up like rocked him. That was a nice little extra oomph on that one.
Right, he did.
So yeah, I mean, there's things like that are just it's very quickly starting to deviate.
They're kind of exaggerating some things.
Yeah, pretty far away from what the game was. In the first season, it felt like a 1-to-1 for most of it, which was awesome. Like, and people loved it.
Right.
People who had no idea about the game loved it because it was an incredibly well-written story. So it could have been a 1-to-1. No problem.
Right.
Yeah. No doubt.
They did do some extra stuff with season 1 that was really cool. The whole situation at the very beginning of season 1 with Tess, the one who died, and Joel, a little bit of a different scenario.
His daughter, right?
Tess, no. Tess was the older woman right when they do the time skip right at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
The woman that was helping him find the fireflies.
Right. Okay.
And then she got bit by like the third
that's right.
episode.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So and that was all basically 1-to-1 as well. But that whole first episode was like a little extra. It was nice to see a little bit extra of their relationship and the things that they were doing.
Right.
The episode with, oh boy, what's their names? Frank, and the two survivors.
Okay.
The two men that were happily gay and sheltered down.
And they died already. They're gone, right?
And they're already both dead.
Right.
In the game, that's a super short thing that happens.
They extended it more. They went into it more.
Way more. That was that whole episode of like their life, basically, in a single episode was beautiful. Like one of the best episodes of the whole series.
So you think some stuff is better that they're deviating?
Sometimes more is more, and it's better.
Okay.
So, and both instances, they're actually giving you more backstory on stuff than
yes, absolutely.
Than that shows in the game or
the instance with Sam, the deaf child, and his older brother, whose name is also escaping me right now from season 1.
Okay.
In the game, Sam's not deaf. Sam's just a normal kid. So that was a fun little, added a little bit of extra to it.
I wonder why they do that. You think
it's
just to give it a little
makes
bit more appeal?
Interesting. Makes for more screen time.
Right.
It's a pretty tight knit sort of act of the game. The whole Sam act. They expanded on it in the game. Sam and his brother are looking for the fireflies. They're not running away from them. So
they're looking for them.
Yeah,
as in to do damage to them, or
they were looking to join them
because
they were just like out and about in the wilds trying to like find their way. So they wanted help. In the show, they made it that they had already found them.
Right.
By the time Joel and Ellie meet them, but they had run away from them at that point because of cannot remember what the situation was. And then the fireflies were looking for both of them.
Right. Well, she needed to go. He had to get her to that one place in order for them. But he thought they were just going to take her blood or whatever.
Yep.
And instead, they were going to have to harvest her brain, I think, right?
Yeah. So basically, the procedure that they were going to attempt to do had no way of guaranteeing her life and was likely to take her life. And that was on a roll of the dice chance that they were going to be able to make a pathogen that would actually be successful in making everybody immune.
Right. So
there was
like, I'm not having it.
Yeah, no. There was some experts went into this where they were like, hey, so that wouldn't be a thing. So there was basically like a Joel apologist guy who was an expert who was like, they wouldn't have to kill her to do that.
Right.
So Joel was actually right for gunning all those people.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And so like there are things in season 1 that they did differently, but in a fun way that added to the story with a few minor deviations. In season 2, though, it's like
super serious in most of them.
It's pretty damning. The people don't like the casting for Abby.
Why? I think she's perfect for it.
She is great for it. There is an aspect of Abby in the game. She is jacked beyond belief. I will happily pull up a picture for you guys. The character model for Abby is the most yoked woman you could imagine. And it's supposed to be a whole thing for her. She made herself as rough and gritty as possible to go and hunt Joel down. There's this whole unseen part between both games where, well, we only get a little bit of it in the game. You do a scene as Abby when she finds her dad, who was the surgeon, dead.
Right.
Joel shot her father, who was the doctor who was going to kill Ellie.
Right.
In that scene, she's tiny. She's like the character in the series.
Right.
She's quite small and thin. And then you do this crazy time skip where she goes across the country to hunt down Joel, and she's jacked out of her mind.
Right. She's like super.
It's part of the character. You know what I mean? Like at that point, that's part of the character's identity. And unfortunately in the series, they picked someone who just doesn't fit that part of the bill at all.
Okay.
And it's hard because in the second game, this is actually really interesting. I think you'll like this. You play only for Joel for like an hour, right? Joel dies. You immediately start playing as Ellie. And then after a little bit, you start playing as Abby. And then the story gets split. And you play half of the game as Ellie and half of the game as Abby.
So they could do that episode to episode or split the episode. So we do half an episode as...
The killer there, and the reason why I'm saying her character identity is important, is in the second game, when you play as Ellie, she's a lot more sly. She's a lot more frail. She has to be very smart about how you play with her, which sort of changes how she interacts with the world as she's trying to go through it and hunt down everyone that was there for Joel's death. When you're playing as Abby, it is like playing as a soldier. Like, she cleans house through people. Right. I don't know how they're gonna do that part. You know, there are so many scenes where you play as Abby where she is truly showing like the strength and grit of the absolute maximum capacity of the female body. She's peak physique, and I don't see how that character is supposed to fit that bill. Or at least that actress is supposed to fit that bill. They're gonna have to tone it back in some way, shape, or form. Like, I'm not saying that Abby's like throwing cars around at any point. But there's scenes like that, and that's just not going to work for that actress at all, unless they hid it from us, and she's absolutely yoked coming up in one of these next episodes. Right. Because
they take off, right? They go, where do they head out? Back west?
Go as far west as possible. I think
they have to know that they're
as spoiler free as possible. I believe Abby makes it literally to the West Coast.
Right.
They get as far away as possible. They also, making it harder for Ellie, they disperse. They're not all in the same place. Everyone that was there for Joel's death
went in different directions.
That's
probably the smartest thing you could have done.
Yeah. And you'll see as the show goes on, it is a vexing story of the fight for justified revenge versus the fight for like keeping your empathy. And a lot of people, when the game came out, and this is the other thing too, there's so much discourse.
This is great to have you on. I love listening to this shit. It's awesome.
There's so much discourse about this, right? Because now there's discourse about the show deviating from the game.
Right. So
at the time when
it's the same with everything, though. With any there's always something.
It will be what it will be. But at the time when the game came out, there was a bunch of discourse because Joel dies in the first hour. People were freaking fuck out about Joel not being in the second game at all. And so when the game came out, you had all of these people that were like giving the game really negative reviews. And it became like a very trending topic in the discourse that the game was like really bad or sucked, or the story and the people were saying like the writing is horrible. The writing is incredible.
Right. They just didn't like the fact that their guy wasn't
exactly.
Right.
And it's just the gaming community, when there starts to be a consensus like that, gets so reactionary and like gross and inflammatory.
Yep.
Oh, really? Oh, well, yeah.
I mean,
it becomes personal to them.
It's just like, everything else.
Yeah.
It's just like everything else out there.
It's like when you hear the Star Wars discourse.
Yeah.
Right. Well, anything really. It's with Star Trek, Star Wars,
Yeah.
any comic book, DC.
Yeah. Yeah, and
all of them.
That's what art is supposed to do,
right?
Anyways, right? It's supposed to.
Some people they go a little too far.
Absolutely. Yeah,
but that's art.
That's art.
You're going to have your extremists.
Yeah, that's art.
You do have a point.
It'll always create discourse that way, where people feel one way about it, and some people feel the other, and it'll always go back to their political leanings and their ideological leanings.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks when those leanings bring people towards like attacking a masterpiece of a game because they don't like what happened in the story.
Right, because of he dies so soon.
Yeah. And then the real killer, without spoiling it for you, towards the end is that struggle of like, am I going to go on a ruthless revenge path, or am I going to find a stopping point where I have some empathy and try and like settle shit.
Right. With yourself, mostly
with their self. And I hope that the series does that aspect of the game justice, because, and again, without spoilers, it is ruthless. Ellie becomes like borderline psychotic.
I've already,
justifiably.
But you know what's funny that you say that, because I already, as soon as it happened and she saw it happen, and then I saw the next episode, and I was like, yeah, she was already on a warpath. She was trying to make it like she didn't want anybody to know it, but you could tell she was like,
absolutely. And you'll see, as long as they stick to the source material,
right,
God willing, you'll see almost everyone around her that actually cares about her is going to be those moments where she like gets to lean on the empathy of people being like, hey, what if we chilled out? Like, hey, what if we didn't murder everyone that was present?
Yeah.
And she takes every single step towards like the darker path that you could imagine.
She's pissed off, man.
Oh, she's pissed. And again, without spoilers, Tommy, no better. Tommy, arguably worse.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And I hope they do this one. There's a part of the game where you're playing as Abby, where Tommy decides to also have his justifiable crash out. And Abby is taken through, this isn't really necessarily a spoiler, Abby is taken through a morgue of fireflies, or maybe it was wolves. I can't remember. One of the factions.
Okay.
One of the factions that Abby was working with.
Okay.
Stacks of bodies. All Tommy on a warpath. They don't cover it. Maybe they'll cover it in the series. They don't cover how he gets to where he gets.
Right.
But he goes to a place, and
it's not a good one.
And he finds the people responsible, and he kills anybody wearing their symbol. Yeah.
Hey, question, symbol. Oh, wait, but you didn't see the next episode, so I can't tell you, but you saw the game. All right. Who are the people with the things in their face?
The scars.
Yes.
I believe they are called the scars.
Okay. What's the purpose of that?
They're interesting. You have to actually, in the game, you have to dig a little bit to find more about them.
Okay.
There's going to be a character very soon.
Is it like a religious faction of some sort?
It's that they kind of fill that post-apocalyptic role of the, what if there was religious freaks? They're always the one in the dystopian post-apocalyptic. There's always the one faction that's like kind of religion-leaning, sort of.
But it's more about
these ones are like flat-out religious freaks, right?
Not flat out.
The way I got it, not to ruin anything, but the way I felt was it was more like Buddha in a sense, where they didn't say that the person had power or they were a god, but you were following her practice and and sharing it with other people and continuing it on because it was the wisdom of he was very wise.
Yes,
or he was very wise.
It has that sort of occult leaning deal.
It did.
To it.
It definitely had that.
Yeah, that's right.
But they are like it's they got the same problem that every faction has in The Last of Us.
Hammer. What's with the hammer?
What hammer? Oh. Well, I'll have to watch to make sure that I know exactly what we're talking about.
I'm sorry, I'm ruining it for you. I apologize.
No worries. It's no worries. Yeah, the Scars are an interesting faction. They should be in this season a fair amount. because in the game, they're predominantly one of the biggest enemies that you're facing as specifically Abby. There should be another character coming up soon within the next episode or two that is Scar affiliated. That is also plays a big role in this game / this season. Hopefully they don't butcher that character. It's a very fun character that they had to do something with Abby to make her not instantly hateable. Play the whole first game as Joel, and then you're going to make me play the person that killed him.
Right.
And that Scar character is pretty much the answer to playing as Abby and seeing her good side.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There will be a bit of a journey there where you will see that Abby is not all horrible. And you get plenty of chances to see that she's also just another person, admittedly, kind of like Joel. And there's this beautiful thing with the game, too, where Ellie plays like Ellie, Abby plays like Joel.
Joel saved her life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a rough go. I personally love how it goes. I love the blend of playing the two, and I hope that the show also does that blend of play or of seeing what the two go through. Yeah. I mean,
well, explain to me more about the actual infection and how that works. Like
the cordyceps.
Okay, so it's not like a mush.
It is. No, it exactly is
a mushroom.
Some
kind of.
They do a fun thing in the game.
Fungus of some sort.
Well, they exist in real life, just not. To humans.
It's really just.
And they explain that in the
very beginning is probably the best bit that you'll get out of it for the show's sake. In the game, you can find little bits of lore hidden in places.
Right.
It is full on a what if scenario where what if cordyceps, which are able to take over anything organic, were able to reach our temperature and take us over.
Wow. Freaking crazy.
They normally die at our temperature.
They die a little bit under our temperature.
Oh, under.
They need like a pretty cool and wet environment, and we are just a little too hot.
Oh, little?
However, cordyceps have been known to adapt to higher temperatures over extensive periods
of
time.
That's Mother Nature for you.
Yeah. So that was sort of the what if that was the basis for making the game.
Right.
Someone was really interested in cordyceps and said, I can make a zombie series out of this.
That's right. Like that. Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Because you can see what it does to insects and things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Completely infectious. There's a couple things that so far have been a little bit missing on the cordyceps side of things in the series that was in the game and was really cool in the game. And I hope that they show us it more in the series. In the game, the cordyceps are also airborne. So there are areas in the game where you would not be able to go through without a gas mask.
Otherwise, you would get infected.
It's immediately airborne cordyceps right into your lungs.
Wow, that would fucking suck.
Yeah, you're super screwed. And it brings up this fun mechanic in the game, too, because Ellie doesn't need a gas mask.
Right.
So when they're walking through those areas...
Oh, don't they... Sorry.
No.
But don't they communicate through their, like, roots or something?
They
like
also communicate
so
through
when
roots.
They're airborne...
Yes.
How does that work?
Correct. Correct. They do... They're a little bit... In the game, most of them don't have eyes. So they use echolocation.
Oh, wow. So it's more
try and
hearing?
find you for the most part. And also the root thing is more a serious thing, less an in the game thing.
Okay.
Not really a thing in the game.
Oh,
it's in this... in the game...
It's in the series, I think.
In the series, the roots thing is a thing.
Right.
Game, not so much. That's not really like explored as extensively as it is in the series.
Gotcha.
In the game, it's all echolocation. You have to be super quiet all the time. And because they scream a lot, that's how they gather each other.
Right.
Because they have that very specific scream. In the game, they're called clickers because they click to sort of see around them. Because most of them don't have eyes, you could be walking through any given moment of the game, and then you start hearing clicking, and everyone does the same thing. They just stop moving. And they start looking around for whatever the hell that was.
Right.
It's a very fun concept the way they do it in the game. And I don't know why they deviated so far from it. But I like what they're doing with the series.
Okay.
This network thing is super cool and should also be a thing. In the game, it's more noise dependent. And what they haven't really shown yet in the series is that this is a fungus that is taking over sentient people.
Right.
And eating away at their brains. They are losing their minds. They have not fully lost their mind. In the game, you will often find that people who are infected with cordyceps are, if you catch them off guard, are often in a corner crying or like weeping or in pain.
Okay.
Until they hear something. And then they go very primal and like the cordyceps sort of kick in and they become truly infected.
Oh, God, that's horrible.
Other thing in the game, often when you get into melee with a cordyceps or even shooting them, they will scream and shout like a normal person would to getting shot. Huh. It's not this weird, zombie sounds and whatnot.
You're hearing the human side of it.
It's real people getting actually shot because there's still a person under the mushroom.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like a really fun thing that they do in the game a lot. That's like really eerie and scary and gross.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
Yeah, that they're not really exploring as much in the show.
No, huh? That one big one that was in the show.
The brute, yes. The cordyceps brute is a very fun
and that is crazy.
It is. In the
Was he like they followed him? Was he like the
It's weird. It's in the game super not like that. Yeah. They're not like a source for the hive in any way. Yeah, they're just a really fucked up person that has a lot of cordyceps on them. Just a larger host.
Gotcha.
But they're not necessarily like they're not like a commander in any way.
Right. Okay.
In the game. In fact,
if they had any hierarchy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In the game, you almost exclusively, I think, run into brutes alone. It's like a 1v1 scenario with the brutes. One of the scenarios in which I think the first time you fight a brute in the first game is in a gymnasium. Closed off space. And it sucks. It's like really hard.
Really?
Oh my God. It tries to truck through this gymnasium. You have a very small space to work with. They took away one of its abilities for some reason. The brutes are supposed to be able to take chunks of the cordyceps off and throw it, and it plumes into that.
It makes it airborne.
Because they took away the airborne factor, I guess they kind of took away some of the abilities as well.
So now it's only the bite factor.
It's just the bite. It's just the bite and the like full-blown frenzied madness. But there is ones that are a little bit more intelligent in the game. Just like in the series.
Where they were actually hiving together and keeping warm and
they were and then
and
planning, hiding, sort of doing cloak and dagger tactics. Those exist in the game. There are ones that are smarter. Good. I believe they're called Stalkers. Yes, they are called Stalkers. Those ones also rough go. Rough go with those guys. They're quieter.
Are they?
I think
they're stealth.
Hopefully no one quote me on
ninjas.
This.
Right.
Yeah. No one quote me on this one, please, out there. But I believe that the Stalkers in game fundamentally are just people with cordyceps who still have ears.
Okay.
So they're just inherently a little bit better at being quiet and hearing and finding their way around. I think also they're predominantly ones that have at least one eye, like visible.
Really?
Yeah, so that they can actually see what they're doing.
Okay.
So they're a little more intelligent.
Like a hybrid.
Yeah, they're like a hybrid. There's a couple. There's one should be in season 2. I would be amazed if it isn't. That is truly unique. And I hope they do not leave it out. And I hope that a lot of the budget went into making it because it is insane.
Really?
Yeah, I believe its name in game is the Rat King.
The Rat King?
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. This is going to be scary.
Yes.
Good.
Oh yeah, no, it's.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a bad go.
Now, how many games were there?
There is only 2.
Oh, there are only 2.
There is only 2.
How are they going to be able to make any more story after this?
Do not know. I don't know if they're going to continue.
Are the people?
You think it's just be the two?
Are the people who wrote the video games? involved in this at all?
Yes.
Oh,
Neil Druckmann.
So kind of like Walking Dead, where
Yes.
What's his name? The creator of Walking Dead.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Neil Druckmann I can't remember what his title was on the game, but he is also part of the team for the series.
Okay.
So I wonder.
People are currently ready to Molotov cocktail Neil Druckmann because I don't know why he was part of the game. Not sure why he's deviating so far from something that he helped write that was really good.
It's freaking Hollywood, man.
It has to be. And
or they have to make it work for a TV series because sometimes it might not transfer. One might not, it might be good for people who know the game, I guess.
Yeah.
To people who don't know the game, so they'd be like, they always factor that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like a guy like Neil Druckmann has like a really hard position too.
Yeah.
Because he has to appeal to the people he made the game for.
And he has
while
to
also appealing to whatever Hollywood wants from him.
And for people who don't know the game. Too.
And for people who don't know the game.
Yeah.
It's like I only knew the game because of you. You've spoken of the game. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then the series came out, and you were the one who actually I watched it because of you.
Yeah.
And as soon as I watched, I was like, "Oh man, this is fantastic! I love this. Is right down my alley."
Truly, one of the best ones that there has ever been. But yeah, Hollywood, they just. I feel like it's got to be because I don't think anyone that works on a game that directly wants to deviate.
Right. Yeah. How can we?
Well, look what they do with this, with the superhero movies and mean Avengers and DC and like they just Marvel. I mean, they I'm sure they would like to do it the way they want, meaning the comic book itself would probably be like, I don't want to deviate. I want to keep the story as is, or not crazy. But these guys want to change it up.
My initial thought is that the writers that are working on these kind of things, my thought is that they want to deviate from the source material so that it's actually like theirs a little bit.
Okay.
Like that's got to be part of it. I feel because if you're just making it 1-to-1 from the source material, you're not really like doing a job necessarily, right? Like you're kind of just copy pasting
pretty much
screenwriting or game writing into screenplay writing.
You have a point there.
So I feel like it's got to be part of it. They want to like put their marker on it somehow.
Sometimes it doesn't hurt though. I mean, certain things just they change the stories. It's good sometimes. It's not, like sometimes they do try to stay as close as possible when they make them.
You look at the Batman series. So they've done
look how many different ones.
Different ones, but some of them have been worked really well. Like the Dark Knight worked really well.
I like the Dark Knight.
Playing the psychotic Joker.
I like the one with
Which, by the way,
look Keaton.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what too, yeah.
But the fan theory, and I still think it checks out.
What's this now?
The Joker, who did the Dark Knight? Christopher Nolan.
Yes, Christopher Nolan.
The Nolan verse Joker is like supposed to be like probably like a psychotic like Black Ops guy. He knows demolition.
Yeah.
He knows psych ops. He knows how to recruit people. He's got this whole plan. And my theory is I go even deeper into that theory. I'm sorry, I don't want to deviate too much. I'm sorry.
No,
I have a tendency to do this, but is that it's just a character. It's like he's doing the same thing Bruce Wayne is doing when he's in character, but behind the scenes, he's like
so that's his superhero. That's his superhero.
Yeah.
He's like a true operator, but that's his
like
mask.
That's my normal behind the scenes,
right? Like Batman. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Totally get it.
That's a fun theory.
Makes sense.
Goes out and beats the Joker for the theatrics,
right?
The plan,
right?
That's a fun theory. I like that.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I was going to say, because of the screenwriting situation where like you have to make it different in some way, or at least maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah. Make it more appealing, like you said earlier.
There's ways to do it good, like season 1, where they added all of this fun stuff that was pretty good. It was a deviation, sure, but it was a fairly well received one.
This one was a little bit more dark and serious, I think. Well, what about the Shrink? I don't mean to cut you off, but Shrink? Was she in the book? I mean, in the game?
Not in the game.
Not in the game.
Not in the game. Nope. And that's probably the other biggest deviation. A lot of the time that they spend in Jackson before Joel dies,
right?
Like Ellie and Joel actually talk. Like they fully flesh out their feelings about it. Where she's like, "Hey, I don't fucking believe you," and he's like, "I did what I needed to for you," and she's like, "Can you just say that you did it?" And he goes, "I did what I needed to for you." There's like a whole conversation that just gets skipped. No idea why they did that one. That was probably the biggest one.
Okay.
Yeah, killer.
Okay. And those are one of the things we're talking about. That something was added into his story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we take time with Joel with a shrink, not having a relationship with Ellie, when they could have just made their relationship more complicated. In the game, that's kind of part of the reason that playing Ellie feels weird. Their relationship at the very end was very complicated. She was fucking really mad at him, and he was just not able to tell the truth. Like he shells it up the whole time until he dies with his lie.
Right.
And for Ellie to go on a warpath like that, it's tough because even she knows that it's not really all that justified. You know, and they go into it as you progress through the game. She really struggles with that whole part of, like, man, we butted heads really bad at the end.
And what was it again that he was actually hiding? Like
that so she doesn't know what happened at the hospital.
Right. She doesn't know that he killed everybody.
To this day, she doesn't know what happened at the hospital. He just took her, and when she woke up, he said it wasn't going to work, and so I took you.
Oh, so
before they did anything, it wasn't going to work.
That. You're absolutely
that was
right.
like the big lie, right?
Yeah.
Is that he killed a bunch of people, and he doesn't tell anybody. He didn't even tell the shrink.
Nope.
Yeah, and they just kind of fully dodged it for some reason.
Wow.
So do you remember after the party when he was outside on the porch and she just kind of stares at him and then walks inside right past him?
Yeah.
That's where the conversation happens.
Oh, really?
Conversation happens right there.
Did he have the guitar in the game too?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, oh man, they're about to fucking go at each other for...
So they decided to go the other way with it.
Yeah, they went like a totally different direction with it, where it was just like, no, she's just super mad at you. I feel like they did that so that it's not as polarizing for people. If she's just...
oh, I got you.
You know what I mean? Like, if she's just, oh, I'm so mad at you, and then he gets murdered, it makes it way more justifiable for Ellie to go out
now
on a
she's
war
not only
path.
mad, she's mad at herself as well because she didn't square everything up with him.
Whereas in the game, it's a lot more gray because it's like they go at each other. They're mad at each other.
Right.
She knows something's up. He's refusing to budge, and then he dies.
Right.
And she's kind of just left with, what do I do next? And it's a super scale balancing thing. And then she just decides, yeah, no, fuck it. I'm going to go kill all those people. And that's where it
she has that mindset already. She was like that from the beginning of the first season, even when she was little.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't give a shit. She's
pre-programmed that way a little bit because she was in that Firefly Academy with those kids. And the Fireflies were teaching them to, like, how to survive in a really tough world. So yeah, it's just part of who she is brought up as.
Do you think with this series they might split it up? Like if they want to make another season out of it, I'm saying, like if they do another one, will they be able to take anything from the second game still to make the other one?
I mean, there's a lot of content in the second game, so maybe we won't get all the way through it.
Right.
Maybe we only get.
Oh, they'll split it into 2 seasons.
Maybe
because there's not a third game.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
lot to cover.
Okay.
I mean, they go like across the country. You know, she chases all 6 of them across the country.
Really?
To different places too. There's a lot to cover.
She ain't playing.
No. I mean, travel time. You're talking. There's a bunch of white space that isn't covered in the game because it's. You know, she's going out. I won't spoil anything. And then you just pick up at, a city or a place where she's found out that there's fireflies. And she's like, I'm going to find that person. I'm going to find one of them here because there's fireflies here.
Right.
And it's just that several times as she
Gotcha.
goes across the country. Yeah.
Was the other younger girl with her as well? Were they both still together?
Dina?
Yeah.
Dina is with her through most of the game.
Okay.
Some of the game. There's a turning point where plenty of stuff happens where Ellie does end up completely alone, still chasing people down.
Wow.
Yeah, there's plenty of fun, really messed up stuff on it.
So maybe they will go and do so. Because I'm thinking, would they really stop at the second game and that'll be it? Second season and you're done?
Yeah, no.
I feel like there's probably more to talk about.
I feel like there's they could stop at quite a few points and then call it for another season. I mean, obviously she's going to go on this warpath where she starts trying to eliminate them. You could really stop at any one of the people she gets to. You know, there's enough time and space for her to get,
to have more stories.
Maybe this season she gets 1 or 2 of them, and then next season she gets the other 4.
Right, I gotcha.
Something like that. But it's a little up in the air right now because they're starting to deviate quite wildly, and it's a little scary when it's this early on in the season.
Right.
Yeah, I
that
know.
it's deviating, because then it's like, okay, well, if you're making
maybe
deviations,
maybe they're deviating because they want to be able to make another season.
Possibly.
That could be another reason.
Yeah.
It's a great theory, because when it's that different that early, that's usually for a reason, and that's because they want to change more and more as it goes on. So yeah, I think it will end up getting changed pretty wildly.
That's why I hated when they did that with The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
They I was just like,
they changed it.
Oh yeah.
They also just dragged it.
Yeah.
Now they branched off another series on it too. Didn't they?
Oh, they've done several now.
Yeah.
There's like 3 series now. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, there's a right way to do it, which I would consider season 1 of The Last of Us probably one of the better adaptations from a video game. Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Right.
It's an anime on Netflix, single season.
Okay.
Incredibly good. Probably my favorite video game adaptation.
Okay.
Of a game being Cyberpunk. Absolute wrong direction. The Halo series on Paramount that just came out the last 2-3 years. That was horrible.
Really? But I remember you playing that game when you were younger. I mean, you've been playing that for how long now?
As long as I could remember. As long as I could pick up a
So it got worse, it didn't get better?
Like the first Xbox.
It was bad within the first 2 episodes. I don't know how it got a second season. It deviated. It is like literally take what I'm complaining about The Last of Us and multiply it by 30.
Okay.
They went so the wrong direction.
They went to 1990s Super Mario Brothers.
It was the 1990s. Yes, exactly that. It was like,
which was horrible.
Yeah, it's just insane. And the biggest thing too is that the screenwriters came out and made a statement where they said, source material, not worried about it. We're going to rely on a couple of the books.
Hey.
That was a statement that they made.
Wow.
Just the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So
let's deviate from what it
for what it actually is about.
Yeah,
that makes no sense. Why would you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And now we have exactly what that looks like.
Right. And of course, everybody is going to be, having their own view and comment, and some very passionate, more than needed, obviously, sometimes. But
the discourse will be everywhere.
It will continue.
It will continue.
Anyway, Justin, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate you doing this with us. This was good. I got me a lot of information about the show. Tom?
Yeah, I know I got to pick it back up now.
I think you should.
Right.
I do. It's just, I have a habit where if I lose too much time, I'm just like, I forget about it. I forgot it exists. You know what I mean? I don't know. Or like, I'll just, not that I forget it exists, because people mention it and I'll go, yeah, Last of Us. I gotta get back up on that. Gotcha. I never do.
There's so many to watch. That's the problem.
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna put it, because you know what? My wife falls asleep at night and I'm still sitting watching TV. I gotta put.
You got time to kill.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
That's the prime time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, that said, thanks again. This was a good podcast. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What are we saying? Are we saying our usual shtick?
Nah.
Should we say
something different?
What's Kenny's thing?
Oh, love, peace, and
hair grease. And
hair grease.
Live long and prosper.
Go vegan. All right.
Thank you, people.
All right.